When I first played Pokemon Red back in the day and you eventually get the Silph Scope and climb Pokemon Tower to identify the ghost, it ends up being a Marowak. It's a pretty memorable moment and I thought Marowak would have ingrained itself in the Pokemon zeitgeist for a good while after that, discounting the Alolan Marowak. Turns out Marowak doesn't seem to get that much love compared to the other Gen 1 Pokemon, at least from what I've seen. And it also has a bunch of signature moves, which is honestly pretty rare. But hey, I like Marowak. I wouldn't be doing this run if I didn't. So let's talk about Marowak's stats a little. It's got really solid defense and special defense, which is going to come in handy during this solo run. Its attack is decent and combined with some pretty powerful moves it has access to from quite early on, it means I'm expecting we're going to curb stomp a lot of the opposition in our way. However, we're going to run into some problems in the HP and speed department. Our defense should help mitigate a bit of that, but there's a strong possibility that if a Pokemon with a super effective move gets to go first, it may just outright one-shot Marowak. A couple of things working in our favor are Marowak's moves. At first glance, you may think it's just got access to normal and ground moves. While its normal moves aren't great, its ground moves definitely are. Bone Club is great to have right off the bat, even though it has low accuracy. Even better is Boomerang at level 25. That thing hits twice, making it as powerful as Earthquake if it hits. Yet accuracy is gonna be a pain this run. Though it is 90%, I swear in Gen 2 that might as well be a coin toss. On top of its learn set, the TMs a Marowak can learn offers some fantastic coverage. Blizzard, Iron Tail, Earthquake, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch. You can even use the move tutor to learn Flamethrower and Ice Beam. A couple of things you've noticed that may trip us up in the long game though. Well, one would be some of Marowak's best moves are special moves and its special ain't great. And even the diverse moves that it can learn are relatively low power, all things considered. But those are a problem for future Marowak. First up, the rules. Pretty simple. We can only use Marowak in battle, we can use no items in battle, and there will be no saving between the Elite Four. So that's it, let's get to it. Kicking things off, we're going to be replacing Marowak with Cyndaquil. Honestly, Chikorita may have been a tiny bit harder, but Marowak is a bit of a beast. At one point, I honestly thought that I could do this run with minimum battles, but I ended up being very wrong about that, and it will become rather clear why that is just not feasible later on. For now, we're pretty much cruising. Marowak starts with Growl, Tail Whip, Bone Club, and Headbutt. Pretty solid. I do reset a few times to get some decent IVs because I don't want its attack too low considering what we've got on our plate. We barely need to level up or put too much focus on random battles as we are on our way to Violet City. Rival numero uno is pathetic. Headbutt, Bone Club, don't matter. We will bury little Chikorita. I do opt to climb Sprout Tower just to get Flash though. I thought the Vine Whips from Bellsprout would output some decent damage, but Marowak's too bulky right now and can shrug off it fairly easily. After grabbing the TM, we'll head to battle Falkner. We are level 13 and up against Falkner's level 7 Pidgey. The entire gym battle goes as you might expect. Spam Headbutt because we've got no choice, and both his Pokemon will go down in just a couple of hits, one badge down. Will Bugsy the rival end up posing more of a challenge? Croconaw maybe, but I don't think Bugsy actually has any grass moves, and we're tanky enough to just shrug off Fury Cutter. Switching things up, I go rival hunting first. Thanks to Slowpoke Well and travelling to Azalea Town, we're now at level 18. With Ghastly up first, we've got the perfect move in Bone Club. Ghastly doesn't outspeed yet, and it's a one-shot. Croconaw's up next, and it's a little closer to our level. It does outspeed and uses Water Gun. Pretty solid damage, a quarter maybe. Bone Club does closer to a third though. I do switch it up to Headbutt the next turn, hoping for a flinch when we tank another Water Gun. Our berry then kicks in and restores some health, and we can finish Croconaw off next turn with Headbutt. The rival's final Pokemon is the mighty Zubat. We are quicker and use Headbutt. It's not an OHKO, but we do get the flinch. The battle is pretty much over. Marowak has yet to meet anything capable of stopping it yet. How do we think Bugsy's going to do? Well, not much better. At level 20, we roll in, and as the ultimate form of disrespect, I don't bother to heal beforehand. Headbutt against Metapod can't knock it out though. It uses Harden. Next Headbutt from us should make the range, and it does. We're up to level 20 just in time for Kakuna. Instead of going for Headbutt, I'd rather avoid the poison chance. We go straight for Bone Club instead, and it sweeps. Bugsy's final Pokemon is Scyther. Despite having 4 levels on it, it will outspeed us. It uses Fury Cutter that barely tickles Marowak. Our Headbutt, which crits, nearly one-shots it, but with no potions or berries, Scyther can only use Quick Attack next turn for more pointless damage before we KO it. Easy every time. But surely Miltank will be a roadblock for Marowak. Bulk versus Bulk. Who has the better chance of coming out on top? I do a couple of things at this point. Number one was deliberately avoiding as many trainers as possible, a trend that would keep up for most of the game. Number two is grabbing both Thunder Punch and Fire Punch from the Goldenrod department store. While I'm not going to need them just yet because we're eating good on just Headbutt and Bone Club, we'll definitely be taking advantage of them later on. So, can we first try Whitney, or will she break the streak? Well, things don't start out great. I go for Focus Energy first. It's one of those moves that always seems to work out better when an opponent uses it. Clefairy Metronome's Fury swipes and misses. The next time we use Bone Club, it misses. We then get double slapped 5 times. Bone Club misses again. 85% accuracy, my arse. Clefairy then flies. Our next move can only miss until it comes back down. Next turn, I just go for Headbutt. It does good damage and we get the flinch. One more Headbutt should do it, and it does. Still, 43 HP for Miltank ain't great. Our low speeds catching up with us because Miltank outspeeds and uses Stomp. Doesn't get the flinch though. Headbutt's not great, but we do get some health back from the berry. Alright, let's go for Bone Club. We get hit with a rollout which doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can stack up. Bone Club thankfully hits and we take Miltank past half HP. Another turn of rollout for Miltank and we're at 26 HP. Bone Club thankfully hits again and Miltank's in a red bar. It shouldn't heal next turn though. We've just got to hit it. I go for Bone Club and we miss. Should have just used Headbutt. Oh god, we're KO'd. An abysmal display. We really should have had that. But it turns out that was all a dream that Marowak had. In reality, we go into battle with Clefairy. We never used Focus Energy, but instead used Headbutt right away. It does over half damage. Clefairy responds with a few slaps that only do 6 damage. We then give it a good old Headbutt again and knock it out. When Miltank's out, I'm taking no chances with Bone Club. Not that I ever used it originally. After one Headbutt, Miltank gets locked into rollout, so we may be on a timer here. I do go for Focus Energy and then tank a few more rollouts until it finally pays off. One more hit from us should do it. With one final Headbutt, Miltank is defeated and our unbeaten run remains intact, right? Bad jokes aside, we can now head towards Equitique. While I am confident that Marowak could take on Chuck, Jasmine or Pryce, I do keep things in order because I want access to fly. We do have the Burn Tower rival to beat first, however. As things would have it, our levels are aligned so that we now have access to the powerful Bone Meringue. At base 50, it hits twice, so it's as powerful as Earthquake, and we get the stab bonus too. First time round, though we are 5 levels above Haunter, there's no chance for outspeeding it. Expecting Curse, which is what we of course get, we might as well use Bone Meringue. Anyway, it is a definitive one-shot. The plan is to be able to simply not get the curse damage to proc by one-shotting all of the rivals' Pokemon. Croconaw can tank a Bone Meringue though. We take both the curse tick damage and a water gun, bringing us down to 39 HP. When we next go for Bone Meringue, and 90% accurate by the way, we of course miss. Curse hits us yet again, and so does water gun. Now we're on 2 HP. Maybe we've still got a chance? A berry gives us some HP back and we line up a Bone Club this time, even though it's less accurate. Don't ask me, I don't pretend to understand the actions of my past self, but it pays off and we KO Croconaw. It's all on the next Pokemon and next move. Zubat is sent out. Will Headbutt do enough? I guess not, and we are KO'd. Second time is the Charm then. Will we get a better look against Haunter? We go for Bone Meringue and we go first. I think we have to thank the Quick Claw for that. Croconaw can probably output the best damage, so we will have to tank at least one hit. Marowak whips out another Bone Meringue and we take Croconaw way past half health. It then uses Rage. Works for us. We're not leaving this to a coin toss, so next turn, go for Headbutt to finish it off. The rivals just got a Zubat and a Magnemite left. Into the first, we're going to go for Headbutt again. Doesn't matter if it's a one-shot or not. While we take it close to a KO, Zubat does use Supersonic, which ain't great. We manage to avoid hitting ourselves in confusion and defeat it with another Headbutt. Last on the chopping block is Magnemite. Of course, we're going to end up hitting ourselves in confusion a couple of times before we can finally use Bone Meringue to one-shot it. Oh, and something worth mentioning is that I'm obviously not using the Thick Club for Marowak. This hold item doubles Marowak's attack. Awesome item, right? Well, it's a 2% drop on Wild Cubone. We can't even get access to them until Rock Tunnel in Kanto, even if we somehow had access to them right now. I wouldn't use it now because it just trivialized the run even further. Later on though, boy, I would have taken that. Anyway, we've got Morty. With a move like Boomerang, I do not anticipate him being a problem at all. As long as we don't get hit by hypnosis, of course. With Ghastly out first, I'm skeptical if we'll outspeed it, but we do. Still thinking we may have the Quick Claw equipped there. Boomerang hits, and it only takes one shot. Wasn't sure who to expect next, and when Gengar's out, I'm hoping for the Quick Claw, because Hypnosis Dream Eater will most certainly destroy us. Quick Claw comes to the rescue again, and sweeps Gengar out of the way. There are just 2 Haunters remaining. Morty chooses, well, Haunter, which still has Hypnosis. Once again, we are outspeeding and using Boomerang. Yeah, the battle's pretty much over. The final Haunter is sent out, one more Boomerang please, it outspeeds. And now we're asleep, and we're not waking up. Haunter starts chipping away at our HP with Nightshade. It takes us past half health. We could tank one more Nightshade if we have to, but we finally wake up. Now just don't miss Boomerang. And we do not. Well, it was a little close there at the end, but the unbeaten streak continues. Alright. Now that we can use Surf, I want to fly. While Chuck isn't weak to our moves, his Poliwrath does have Surf itself. And of course, I forgot to pick up Strength, so I have to do the Surf of Shame all the way back to Olivine. Oftentimes, in solo runs, you'll clear out the Lighthouse to not only get the extra XP, but to also deal with Jasmine and the Ampharos at the top. We don't bother with that this time. Instead, we're happy to just make a beeline straight to Chuck. Now we're at level 34, 7 levels above the Primate. I'm not expecting too much resistance from it. We'll of course outspeed and use Boomerang for an easy 2-shot or 1-shot on Primate. Poliwrath is a tad bulkier though. I don't think Surf will be an OCO, but it may put up some good numbers. Our Boomerang hits and manages to take Poliwrath into Orange Bar, but Poliwrath's AI of Lock-On is its undoing. As long as Boomerang hits, we're good. Next turn, we not only hit, but we get a crit, and that is just rubbing salt into the wound. I've been trying to avoid battling trainers as much as possible, but it seems Marowak is just too good. At least Jasmine sees a bit of a jump in levels, especially with her defensively strong Steelix. Are we going to have to use Fire Punch though? At level 36, just 2 levels higher than Chuck, we roll into the fight and immediately go for Boomerang against Magnemite. Pathetic. Alright then Steelix, are you up for giving us a challenge? Another Boomerang? We've taken it into Orange Bar just like the Poliwrath. Iron Tail from Steelix, damage ain't bad. We've got to go for Boomerang next turn. Of course it hits. Damn. And at this point I was like, whoa, should have just made this a minimum battles run. We were riding so high on Boomerang, but surely we've got to come crashing down at some point. Well, it ain't going to be for Pryce, that's for sure, but come on. His Pokemon have some moves that are effective against us. Though they are at low levels, come on, Seal, Boomerang. Oh, it manages to tank a hit at least. Alright then Dugong, show me what you got. First hit ain't enough, but the second one makes the range. Please, Piloswine, you have to put a stop to Marowak's dominance. It's becoming mad with Boomerang power. Piloswine manages to tank a Boomerang. It goes for Mist. What are you thinking, Piloswine? Oh, Pryce whips out the Hyper Potion. Another Boomerang puts it in the same position as before. Is he gonna get a hit? No, of course not, because we are faster. Marowak out here putting up the numbers. Okay, but surely, Clair, Dragonairs, Kingdra, it's always a tough battle casually. Will we need to go to the game corner and buy Blizzard? Use Icy Wind just to eke out a victory? Because we've been forced to finish off the tedious Rocket side quest, we are now at level 48, and I've been doing as few battles as possible here. Okay, our game plan isn't changing. Boomerang is carrying us through the fight. It's a 1-2 shot on the first Dragonair. No Thunder Wave. We level up. The next Dragonair sent out. Are we going to hit? Yes, and it's a crit. Okay. Claire's going to send out Kingdra. We should be scared now, right? Well, 9 levels above, so we are going to outspeed it even with our poor base stats. Boomerang ends up leaving Kingdra on about a quarter of its HP. It then uses Smokescreen, and that actually could be bad. Of course, we're going to see that Hyper Potion next turn, or not. What is going on? Has every gym leader just lost the will to fight? Well, we finally miss on the last Dragonair, which uses Dragon Breath for trash damage. What more is there to say? Okay, we've got the Elite Four now. This is where the difficulty spikes. More Pokemon, better movesets. We actually have to use our heads a little bit. First order of business is teaching Marowak Fire Punch and Thunder Punch. We've come this far on Boomerang and Headbutt alone. That is insane. We taught Thunder Punch specifically for Will's Pokemon. Lots of vulnerabilities to exploit. We're at level 52. One Thunder Punch will be Sato outspeeds with Psychic. Crit. That is a fair bit of damage, but Thunder Punch will not be a one-shot. There's that poor special attack and move power, but it's not all bad. The crit was rare and we tank another before knocking Xatu out. Alright, Jinx is up next, no problem. A defensively poor Pokemon against Boomerang. Not a chance. Alright, Jinx outspeeds 2. Ice Punch. Well, okay then. It's fine, because it turns out that it was all a dream and never mind. This is when I realized a minimum battles run would never be possible. XP wise, we may have been around this level and it ain't cutting it. Outside of luck, we wouldn't make it past Will. Just use rare candies? Nope. If we did, red would not happen in a million years. I give it another go at level 52. Admittedly, this time we're doing a little better. Xatu isn't critting or getting special drops with Psychic, which means we can knock it out in 2, but we are confused. Against Jinx, it misses with Lovely Kiss, and a Boomerang crit is capable of knocking it out. Against the Executor, it's more of a string of bad decisions that finishes off. Because I'm not confident in our special stat, I'm thinking Boomerang is the better move. But aside from hitting ourselves, we then get tagged with a Leech Seed. Boomerang doesn't do great damage. We eventually switch to Fire Punch. Turns out, it's not as bad as I thought. Still, by the time we've defeated the Executor, we're on just 18 HP for Slowbro. Thunder Punch would have to knock it out, but as we all know, Slowbro is bulky. Thunder Punch does barely over half. Leech Seed gives it some more HP back and it defeats Marowak. Level 52 just ain't cutting it, so I do go and battle all the trainers I skipped on the way to the Pokemon League in Victory Road. Through doing this, we are able to raise our level to 55. There are still rare candies in our back pocket, but they've got Red's name all over it. At level 55, we do now outspeed the level 40 Xatu and can use Thunder Punch. We're still not quite making that range though. Psychic doesn't cause too much damage, so we're good to knock it out on the next turn. But do we now outspeed the Jinx? Well, yeah, but we then miss with Boomerang. Thankfully, Jinx doesn't capitalize on it and uses Double Slap instead. With another bite of the cherry, we do successfully hit with Boomerang this time and take it down. For Executor, while we use Fire Punch, it's never going to KO it without crit. It uses Psychic instead of Leech Seed, thank God, so we get off pretty lightly. Will doesn't choose to heal, on this occasion at least, and we can use another Fire Punch. So Slowbro's next, and this is the furthest we've ever been. Thunder Punch did over half last time. Now it just does a little bit more damage. Thankfully, instead of Amnesia, Slowbro uses Curse, which is pretty pointless. Another Thunder Punch from Marowak will finish it off, leaving just Will's final Xatu. Same story as the first Xatu. We do manage to get the drop on this one too with a Thunder Punch, not going to one-shot, but we should be able to tank its Psychic. But this is the point that Will decides to use that Max Potion. Shouldn't be a problem though. We just need to do one Thunder Punch and then on the next turn, follow it up with a Headbutt. I could have grabbed Return, but with the Pokemon we've got coming up, it's not going to be too useful, honestly. We potentially got the easiest time against Koga given his lineup. Ariados is weak to Fire Punch, but because of our special, as we've continually seen, it ain't up to scratch and we're not making the range. While Ariados uses Double Team, we do land the next Headbutt. Koga will typically field Venomoth next. Much like Ariados, we can load up on Fire Punches. We don't want a Toxic from Venomoth, and it'd rather use Psychic anyway. Don't know if I could have outlasted the battle if we were poisoned like that. With Fortress out next, the biggest question is whether Fire Punch will be a one-shot. If it hangs on, we could get exploded on. Despite Marowak's poor special, we can make the range, so who's up next? Crobat or Muck? Crobat it is. Now while we use Thunder Punch, it outspeeds us because, well, it's a Crobat. Despite that, we can one-shot it this time, and the crit absolutely does matter in this instance. But for Muck, we've got no ranges to worry about. This thing is bulky, but there is no way that it is surviving a Boomerang. Muck is bulky and can survive on Red Bar, at least for the first hit. The second one puts it away though, and Koga is finished. Unlike Will, Koga's never going to be much of a problem where Marowak's involved, so we've got that going for us at least. Bruno though, we'll have to see. We only have an effective move against one of his Pokemon. For the rest, we're relying on our attacking power and great defense. For Hitmontop, it's pretty speedy, but not speedy enough, and one Boomerang is able to knock it out. Didn't know what to expect next, but we get Hitmonchan. Mach Punch seemed like the obvious move, but it obviously didn't go for it, which means our Boomerang can easily take it out of the fight. And it's going to be the same story with Hitmonlee. As long as we're hitting with those Boomerangs, Bruno looks like he won't pose too much of a threat. Machamp, however, is big and it is bulky. Even a level 30 Ghastly can outspeed this thing, so Marowak should have no problem. Boomerang is pushing it over the halfway mark, but it is not one-shotting it. So can we survive a cross chop? Absolutely, if it misses. Bruno's obviously going to heal the Machamp next turn, so with that in mind, we're best lining up a headbutt. It gets a good range, was a little unsure there, just got to hit it with another Boomerang and we are golden. Alright then, next up is just Onix. And when you know it, this is where our Boomerang decides to start missing. We've got just 2 left and both of them end up not hitting Onix, leaving us to rely on Fire Punch for the rest of the battle to finish it off. I want to find the person who programmed the accuracy in this game and just give him a good shake. Thankfully, we picked up Earthquake in Victory Road and I'm thinking we're going to have to overwrite Boomerang with it pretty soon. Last member of the Elite Four is up now and that's Karen. We do have some effective moves against some of her Pokemon, but I'm worried about the Umbreon. Sand Attack and Boomerang do not play well together and I feel like hitting something this century. The first go around we do hit with Boomerang, but there's the Sand Attack. Are we going to suffer for it the next turn? Seems not this time. While we do KO it, Karen's going to send out Vileplume next. It's got a signature move of its own in Petal Dance and we are really weak to grass. Of course, Marowak starts things off with missing Boomerang. And there's Petal Dance. It's doing about, I don't know, a third. Far too much. Next turn, another Boomerang miss, another hit from Petal Dance. We could technically survive another Petal Dance, but things aren't looking great. Well, this time we do it, and it leaves Vileplume on a slither of health. But there's Petal Dance. Marowak's been sent back to the Pokemon Tower to become a ghost once again. But it was all a dream, Nana. Okay, so we make it back to Karen after several more retries. I've still not learned my lesson and have kept Boomerang. As if taunting me, Boomerang of course misses. But then Umbreon's Sand Attack fails, so it's the little things. Next turn we get some better accuracy luck. Instead of a Sand Attack, we get Feint Attack. Okay, just got hit with the next move, and we do. So let's keep that up for Vileplume. Boomerang, please hit. We do. Decent damage, no Petal Dance, Stun Spore. That may be worse. We shouldn't outspeed. We definitely won't outspeed now, right? Okay then, we will take that. On to the next one, and it's Murkrow. Don't think we'll beat it for speed though. Nope, there's a Feint Attack. Doesn't do too much damage and our Thunder Punch makes the range. I was pretty skeptical. Did not know it would end up making that range. Gengar or Houndoom next. Which one are we going to get? Houndoom it is. That thing is pretty rapid, so it is going first with Flamethrower. And it does a fair bit of damage, leaving us on 72 HP. So please, no burn. Sweet. Now Boomerang hit. Please and thank you. One Pokemon left. Gengar has not got much against us, but a Curse could actually be bad if we keep missing. Instead of Curse, we get Lick, but we're already paralyzed and it does pathetic damage. Will we be paralyzed? Nope. Will we hit? Yes. And that is Karen down. All the Elite Four members have now been defeated, meaning Lance Van's Dragon Dance is the only thing standing between us and Kanto. Gyarados, I'm not worried about. But what do we really have against these Dragonites? Not much. At level 58, we will outspeed Gyarados and use Thunder Punch, but we will not one-shot it. Of course, Gyarados is falling up with a Surf, and that does far too much damage. While there's no potion and we knock it out next turn, we're on just 113 HP for the rest of the battle. The level 47 Dragonite doesn't go first, and our best move is Headbutt. It does maybe 1/4, but we do get that flinch. We're then rewarded with another flinch the next time we use Headbutt. And it's doing more damage than I thought. Dragonite is knocked out in 3 headbutts and we've taken no additional damage since going into the other Dragonite. Can we get the same kind of luck though? Well, if I choose Thunder Punch instead of Headbutt, we won't. It does like a 6th or something. Dragonite goes easy on us and uses Twister, which takes us down to 91 HP. I decided to go back to Headbutt strats. While it's putting up some good numbers, we ain't flinching this time. We get hit with a Hyper Beam. Now we're on 52 HP, but I'm confident in those 2 turns we get, we'll be able to knock it out, but our future beyond that ain't looking too bright. I wasn't expecting Aerodactyl, but that's who Lance sends out next. It is rapid, but instead of Hyper Beam, it uses Rock Slide, which we resist. We have a super effective move in Thunder Punch. Not only that, but it crits and steamrolls the Aerodactyl back to being a fossil. Things are looking up. We've got Charizard next, so let's see how Thunder Punch does again. Well, we'll never know because Charizard outspeeds and uses Flamethrower. Honestly, not a terrible first showing. I'm pretty sure that we can make it through the entire Elite Four and Lance without having to save, but we need better moves when it comes to Lance. Our choices are somewhat limited. We've got Icy Wind courtesy of Pryce, but its damage output combined with our special is only going to tickle those Dragonites. Our best bet is to use Blizzard paired with the Nevermelt Ice just in case, but, and there's a big one, its accuracy is terrible, and we've seen how supposed 90% accuracy moves go for us. Blizzard is just 70%, so this is going to be rough. The very next time we get to Lance with Blizzard, things don't go too well. We see that terrible accuracy come into play, and Lance's first Dragonite also has Blizzard, and of course its Blizzard is going to hit. In the end, Aerodactyl knocks us out, and we have to start this all over again. But next time, the battle goes a little bit better. Against Gyarados, we are of course going for Thunder Punch. Hopefully it won't go for Surf on its turn, but it turns out that Thunder Punch was a range in the end. Why? Because I used a couple of rare candies just to head off that problem. Against the Blizzard Dragonite, we know we're quicker, but will Blizzard hit? Yep, and it destroys the Dragonite. Okay, good start. Let's keep it going with the other Dragonite. We use Blizzard once again, and it hits again. Perfect. 3 Pokemon down, and not one bit of damage. With Aerodactyl out next, that's not going to continue, but we just have to tank some hits. Rock Slide first. Perfect. Hardly does anything. Thunder Punch takes it past halfway, and as long as something crazy doesn't happen, we're on to Charizard. Aerodactyl then uses Hyper Beam, and it barely touches us. We're through to Charizard at 136 HP, but its Flamethrower could definitely cause us some problems. Again, it's got the speed advantage, but Marowak is tougher than I thought. There's no burn from Flamethrower. Thunder Punch is putting in work. A turn later, we tanked up the Flamethrower and reply with Thunder Punch to knock it out, but we're on just 47 HP, and I have not been up against Lance's final Dragonite before. Is it able to outspeed us? One Blizzard please. We're up first, it hits, and ain't no way it is surviving that, and there we have it. Though Blizzard is a definite risk, it did manage to take us across the finish line against Lance. Is it consistent? Probably not, but we only need to do this once, thank God. With Marowak's name enshrined into legend and a bit of smack talk from Professor Oak, you go catch some Pokemon, you old We've got Kanto waiting for us. I wish I could say that Kanto proved troublesome for Marowak, but that was not the case. The only gym that was slightly annoying was Blue, and that was only because we managed to get Leech Seeded by the Executor and burned by Arcanine's Flamethrower. This did accelerate something I'd been planning to do a little later on, which was to teach Marowak Ice Beam. In Crystal, there is a move tutor that appears on Wednesdays and Saturdays in Goldenrod. By paying him coins from the game corner, you can teach Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, or Ice Beam. While not as powerful as Blizzard, I would rather take the hit to power than to accuracy any time of the day. But with that minor prep out of the way, I'm not really sure what the game plan against Red should be. We have some advantages against Pikachu, Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard in theory, but they're pretty powerful though. At level 69, nice, I roll in with leftovers. Against Pikachu, anytime we get hit with Charm, it's an automatic reset. But on the occasion Pikachu goes for Quick Attack or Charm misses, we can get past it. Red will always send out the Venusaur next, and this is where our problems begin. Ice Beam on Venusaur does not take it over half HP. It will go for Solar Beam, or it will set up Sunny Day and then use Solar Beam. Either way, it's a 2-turn move, and Marowak can't tank one Solar Beam. It is a one-shot all day. Even if it could tank Solar Beam, it'd be on such a low HP that it wouldn't survive the rest of the battle. Oh, and we currently don't outspeed Venusaur either. At level 69, this ain't possible. With our current moveset, it's not possible. But I know what you're thinking. Just go for Protect or Detect, right? Okay, let's try that. Against Pikachu, Charm fails, so we can knock it out with just one Earthquake. Alright, Venusaur is up next. We won't outspeed, we know that. Let's use Ice Beam first. Still not doing enough, but we can then just use Protect next turn and it'll be fine. So we do this for the next few turns and are able to defeat Venusaur after 3 Ice Beams. Easy, right? Well, Blastoise is out next. We've got Thunder Punch, so no problem, but we are slower than Blastoise and it has Surf, and just look at how much damage that is doing. And our Thunder Punch, even with a crit, doesn't even do half. Even if we could somehow knock it out in 2 hits, we'd still be on 2 low health for the rest of Red's team. Even though in this particular battle, we get some crazy luck with 2 paralyses in a row that I do not take advantage of, it ain't happening. Right, so technically there is a way to mitigate all this, and it is super cheesy. We could use Swagger. Maybe we'd get Curse and Return as well. But honestly, I don't want to do that. If I have to level up and use better strats, I would rather do that because it takes a little more thought and effort. Plus, we're not just leaving it up to total blind luck. So I did go and level up a bunch, all the way to level 80. This meant battling basically everyone in the Poke world, and then using the remainder of our rare candies. Along the way, though I wasn't recording at the time, I tried another strat that utilized Sandstorm to chip away at Venusaur and Blastoise. The problem was the AI was making up for being a lot dumber in those previous battles. What would happen is you defeat Pikachu and use Sandstorm on Venusaur to get it locked into using Sunny Day. You could do this for about 2 turns. After that, it was a total dice roll. Because Venusaur would just use Solar Beam, and you'd have wasted another Sandstorm trying to counter its Sunny Day, it basically didn't work. And even if you'd gotten to Blastoise on full health, it would set up Rain Dance to make Surf a one-shot. But there was a game plan that started to yield some success. Mostly, it was about having the levels and a bit more luck. We already know how it goes for Pikachu. Just use Earthquake and it's done. For Venusaur, I abandoned the Sandstorm strat and instead went for the old Protect strat. And that only works if Venusaur chooses not to use Sunny Day or Giga Drain. In this instance, we do get a clutch critical hit on the second attack, which means it goes down and we've made it to Blastoise unscathed. But what also makes this possible is that Venusaur did set up Sunny Day on its second turn. With this, Blastoise will either want to use Rain Dance or Blizzard. This time, it goes for Blizzard, which, while doing a ton, doesn't take us past half HP thankfully. Leftovers is giving us back a bit of that precious health too, and the next time we use Thunder Punch, it ends up critting and knocking out the Blastoise. So that is 2 second turn crits, extremely lucky and something that we can't consistently rely on. But now Espeon is up, and what do we actually have against it? Because Psychic won't knock us out, Espeon will always choose Reflect turn 1. I anticipate this and go for the Earthquake. Espeon's quick and gets to go first though. Earthquake does over half. Without the Reflect, that would have been a one-shot. So frustrating. I want some HP back, so choose to Protect because I know Psychic's on the way. It goes as planned and we recoup some HP. We're now at 181. It is now or never. We'll just have to tank the hit. Espeon uses Psychic, we're taking to 92 HP, but at least our Earthquake will KO it. Another second turn crit. When it rains, it pours I guess. Alright, 107 HP for Snorlax. We are definitely good, but if it uses Body Slam, it's gonna hurt. I debate for a moment because I'm wondering if it's gonna use Amnesia instead. I roll the dice with Earthquake. With Reflect, it does about a quarter. It uses Body Slam and takes us down to 53 HP. And wouldn't you just know it, there's the paralysis too. Next turn, I go for the Hail Mary Ice Beam for the freeze. We don't get it. We're on even lower health. As a last ditch effort, I try to protect, but we're paralyzed, and then Snorlax KOs us. If we'd just gotten better luck against the Snorlax, we would have just had Charizard left, but this is the best we're gonna do. I decide to use my final rare candy to take Marowak to level 81. Okay, Pikachu, we know how this goes. We take a quick attack, but that's better than Charm. Earthquake will of course OHKO it. Now the real test begins against Venusaur. Is he going to set up Solar? We now outspeed with Ice Beam, and that is now a range that takes it over half HP. And it gets frozen.
Damn!
Alright, another Ice Beam then. We're at full health for Blastoise. We're not out of the woods yet. Will we outspeed it too? We go for Thunder Punch and hope. At level 81, we are now faster. Thunder Punch doesn't quite do half. Blastoise uses Rain Dance. One Surf will now knock us out. We can use another Thunder Punch, but unless it paralyzes, what are we going to do? We just go for it anyway, and wouldn't you know it, it is a crit and knocks Blastoise out. Now we're still at full health for Espeon, and this has never happened before. Well, Espeon is definitely going to use Reflect now because one Psychic wouldn't knock us out. So we better get that Earthquake in sooner rather than later. But Espeon uses Psychic instead, and we know from the time before that one Earthquake will KO it. So, wow. Snorlax is up next, and we still need to be careful of those Body Slams. How much does Earthquake do without Reflect though? We're quicker, and it does well over half damage. If it uses Amnesia, which it does, we're going to get past it without taking a hit. You know what? We could do with a bit more health too. I know Snorlax could use Rest, but I go for Protect anyway, and Snorlax uses Body Slam. We avoid it and recoup a little more HP. I don't know if 204 is going to be enough for Charizard, but I can't risk Rest, so I just go for Earthquake on the very next turn. Snorlax is down. We're going to go into the battle with Charizard at near full HP. Leftovers kicks in, and we've now got 219 hit points. I debate for a moment, thinking if I should go for Protect again. Ultimately, I go for Thunder Punch instead. Charizard's quicker and uses Flamethrower. It does a ton, but we could maybe tank 2 of them. No burn. And Thunder Punch ain't doing over half. Can we tank 2 more Flamethrowers? At this HP, maybe not. So I end up using Protect again. I don't risk another, so I go back to Thunder Punch. Charizard's Flamethrower takes us down to 66 HP. Thunder Punch comes oh so close to knocking it out. I haven't been keeping track of the exact numbers, but our HP, even after leftovers, just seems too low. Alright, we can just use Protect again, which will eventually take us to 96 HP. It is the moment of truth next turn. Will we survive? Flamethrower hits. 5 HP. Go Thunder Punch, go! Charizard's KO'd. We've done it. Red's defeated. That run was really interesting. I don't think I've ever experienced such a spike in difficulty after absolutely tearing through the Johto gym leaders. Minimum battles probably is possible for the Johto badges, but beyond that, I don't think you've got much of a chance. I am happy that I managed to defeat Red without over-leveling too much. We were about even with him, and I'm glad I didn't go the Confuse or Curse route either. But hey, maybe you could have made the run even easier. Feel free to let me know. If you have an idea for an interesting run in the same style, let me know. And if you want to like or subscribe, go for it. Until next time, have a good one.